When I tell people I study kinesiology and recreation, I almost always get responses like, oh, so you studied sports? Or, I get it, not wanting something too serious. And while I did take a few classes on the psychology of sport, and yeah, my definition of business casual almost always includes a pair of sneakers, there's so much more to recreation. At its core, recreation is about what we choose to do when we don't have to do. My journey of recreation started when I was about 8 years old. I was on a family vacation where a nearby rec center was nestled in the resort grounds. To this day, I remember being enamored at how many different activities there were at my disposal. My brain immediately went into overdrive, trying to decide which activity to dive into first. Swimming? No mini golf. Should I hit the arcade? What about ping pong? Before I could decide what to do, my dad brought out a rustic orange basketball and led me outdoors to this beautiful blue and green basketball court. I can still remember my awkwardness as I tried to bounce the ball in rhythm, as I had seen so many people seem to do with ease. After some time of getting comfortable, my dad gave me a challenge: to shoot what felt like this gigantic ball into what seemed like an infinitely tall hoop. I tried and failed. But after several attempts, I had finally tamed what seemed impossible. I made the shot. And since then, I've fallen in love with the rhythm of a ball dribbling. I get excited when I hear shoes squeak. And who doesn't feel a sense of pride when they hear that swoosh after making a shot? See, basketball hasn't just been something I do in my free time. It's been my ticket to explore the world around me, a conversation starter in what has become a series of lifelong friendships, and a mirror to my innermost self. For me, my passion for recreation started when I discovered basketball on an outdoor court one summer day years and years ago. It wasn't until years later I learned that the feeling that I felt wasn't just due to my growing love of the sport, but the environment I was in, and a little concept called biophilia. Now, without getting too nerdy, biophilia refers to the tendency that we humans have to seek out connections with nature and other living things. Remember the first time you swung high enough to feel like you were flying? Or how magical it felt when you saw a butterfly up close, the soft flutter of its wings, with colors that seemed to perfectly harness the sun's light? These are more than just memories frozen in time. They reveal our deep connection to nature and its quiet yet impactful way of calling us home. And this isn't just me talking. Research actually shows that there are 4 aspects of nature that contribute to these feelings of relaxation, rejuvenation, and even recovery. Remember my first time playing basketball? All 4 of these components were at play. Up to that point, I had only seen basketball played on an indoor court, surrounded by padded walls, bleachers, and referee whistles. But when I stepped onto that outdoor court, everything felt different. I had never seen an outdoor court, let alone one painted sand green and turquoise. The trees that lined the court offered much needed shade, but also had a calming sound every time the breeze went by. It was as if nature was offering me a cinematic peek into its world, sparking curiosity and wonder without even trying. Compatibility. Are you engaging in an environment that's compatible with your likes and interests? For me, basketball was something I was already interested in. I didn't have to convince myself to engage, so the experience was just an extension of who I already was. Being away. Most of the environments that we spend our days in are associated with productivity, stress, and responsibility. But I was on vacation. I wasn't at school where everything was somehow tied to social evaluation or grades, so I got to show up in a more authentic way. That's kind of what nature does. Nature isn't concerned about what you can do, but about who you are. So rather than trying to be what the environment suggested I be, I was just am. An extent. I was doing an activity I loved, and I was removed from the pressure to perform. So this allowed me to fully immerse myself in the experience I was having. I was oblivious to the seconds and the minutes that passed by. And suddenly, my 8-year-old problems weren't all that big. When's the last time you forgot that time existed? Now, you might be wondering, what does my first time playing basketball have to do with you? It's true. Some of you all may never feel the level of peace that I feel when playing basketball, but we all need a third space, a place that reminds us that we're more than what we do for work and the responsibilities that await us at home, a space that encourages self-discovery, a place where your imagination can run wild, a place where your inner child is safe to exist. Unfortunately, this space is actively disappearing. We currently live in a society that encourages constant hustle. When you're not at your 9 to 5, you're supposed to be starting a business. After that, you have to hit the gym. And you haven't seen your friends in like 2 months, so probably a good idea to check in with them. Somehow, hyperproductivity has become this badge of honor. But when hyperproductivity goes unchecked, we eventually arrive at burnout. So now, more than ever, it's imperative that we reclaim our right to live a life that feels good, not just in our leisure time, but in the work that we do, so that we can begin to rediscover what's truly important to us. This is an idea that inspires the work that I do every day. Some days, this just means I'm super intentional about centering nature. I may practice guitar on my balcony or take a group of students outside for recess after lunch. Other days, I create opportunities for learning through play. This has looked like putting on a day of play event or hosting a park day with a Girl Scouts troop. On the surface, I just wanted to create an opportunity for engagement. But on a deeper level, I wanted to create the opportunity to explore potential interests without having to worry about things like money or transportation. The Day of Play event featured a live DJ, a group yoga class, and art activities, whereas the park day featured a nature scavenger hunt and a water balloon fight. From recess to days of play, community and fun are always at the core of what I do. But did you notice how nature helped facilitate each of these activities? Nature provided the opportunity to break up the monotony of the environments that we typically find ourselves in. I believe that when we cultivate opportunities to build community, something special happens. Our world grows. We figure out that thing that can make us smile on our worst day. We find people that make us feel seen. And we figure out where we can go when home may not feel like home. And it doesn't have to stop with the way that we approach programming and experiences. We can also incorporate biophilia into how we design our spaces. Now let's have a moment of honesty. We don't exactly love spending 8 to 10 hours in an office every day. But we can start to design these spaces in a way that works for us. And there's 3 easy ways to do this. First, we can start by adding nature in the space. This could be adding plants or lighting a candle. Personally, I would recommend lavender. Or just opening up a window for some natural light. Now, it's not always possible to put literal nature within the environment, but this is where natural analogs come in. Natural analogs are design elements that mimic nature through shapes, textures, and colors. What does the artwork around your house look like? What if I told you that you can transform your bathroom into a spa just by switching up your rug or shower curtain? Me, I did this in an abstract way. I made a bouquet of Lego flowers. This was my way of incorporating something I love, Lego, and something that I enjoy most about being in nature. Lastly, consider the nature of the space. In other words, how does the structure of a room make you feel? Does your space tell you to rest, or does it say keep working until the task is finished? Now, I don't know about all of you, but work-life balance felt impossible during the pandemic, so I had to set a boundary. I no longer do work in my room, so that when I'm in there, it truly feels like a getaway from the outside world. And I want to end with this. The more time you spend doing something, you can't help but to start sharing it with other people and being more conscious of how you show up in that space. Nature's no different. The more time you spend creating memories and building community, you'll start to ask yourself why no one has taken the time to clean up that park. You may even be interested in planting trees or starting a garden. But most of all, you'll start to think about how you can make a difference in your community. So I'm challenging you to meet me where the grass touches the dirt, and together we can recreate the narrative around nature. Thank you.